the very chairs that you're sitting in as a job seeker. And he's also been a presenter for us. And so tonight, we're fortunate enough to have him as one of our dinner speakers. Now, one thing about, when was the last time you used a number 2 pencil? It's been a long time for a lot of us, right? Well, Tyrone, one of the unique things about Tyrone is he's a portrait artist, and he uses just the number 2 pencil to make that happen. So, I don't know about you, but I think that's rather a simple message just to kind of introduce somebody to you on. But I think he has a simple message that comes from Hebrews that he's going to share with you as well. So with that, Tyrone, come on up and join us.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, Jay, for that introduction. Real quick, excuse me. My name is Tyrone Griffin, and I did sit right where you are a couple of years ago. Real quick about myself, besides being a volunteer here, I do a podcast called Bunny Slippers Are Evil, and it's all about, thank you, it's all about dealing with job search and transition. So write it down, go look at it. I've been doing it for about 3 years, and again, it's all about job search and transition. But tonight, what I'm going to talk about is Hebrews 11:1. And depending on what version, what Bible you have, it says, now, faith is the substance of things hoped for. I'm messing it up already. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things unseen. Let me ask this question, and it's a redundant question because I know everybody's got the same answer. What are you all hoping for? A job. Excuse me. You have faith because you're here. Because you know or you believe that there is a higher power in charge of everything that's going on. If you didn't believe that, if you thought that this was all just random, that you were just a victim of circumstances, then you wouldn't be here tonight. See, you have faith because sometimes what you're dealing with, it seems like it's too much to bear. How many people have been to that point where it's too much? But I want you to understand something. You know how people say that God doesn't put more on you than you can handle? That's a lie. God specifically puts more on you than you can handle. And you know why? Because He wants you to rely on Him. When times get rough, He wants you to turn to Him. So the first part of this verse, faith is the substance of things hoped for. Say, God will give you more than you can handle. Because He wants you to have faith. He wants you to hope. He wants you to keep hoping. You know, as Jesse Jackson said, keep hope alive. But you got to work hard for it. There are some people who are sitting around waiting, say, well, if God's going to bless me, I don't have to do anything. God doesn't work that way. God doesn't give you anything. God wants you to go out there and do every day what you're supposed to do to look for your job, to look for that next opportunity. God doesn't want you to be lazy. God doesn't, and we all have known people who will just sit back and just wait. But the way blessings work, you have to work for them. You have to earn them. You will get them. Everybody in here, you will land a job. Believe it or not, you will land a job. I can't tell you when that is, but you will land a job. It's in the plan for you. And remember this, when people say, well, why is God letting all this happen? Sometimes God allows what He hates so that He can have what He really wants. Think about how many people know somebody who was addicted to drugs or alcohol, and they went through AA or some other program, and they came out and they became one of the best people in the world. They would have never got to that point had they not been through what they've been through. Think about yourselves. You've all been through a lot. How many people in here, show of hands, think you are a better person now than you were 3 years ago? See? And you wouldn't have been that person if you had not gone through what you're going through now. So when you go through, when things get rough, understand something. You wouldn't know the mountains if it wasn't for the valleys. If things went along smooth all the time, you would never have a reason to say, well, this is one of the good times and one of the bad times. As bad as it is, as bad as you might think it is, remember, number one, there is always somebody who's got it worse. Number two, be thankful because of that. You know, you say, well, I've been out of work for 6 months. There are people here who've been out of work for 2 years. There are people who've been out of work 3 years. And that's 3 years of going every day looking for a job. But they keep hoping. They keep showing up to this networking meeting. They go to other churches and they pray because they have hope. Because they believe that God is in charge. You have to believe that. There's the only way you're going to get through this with your sanity is to believe that this was not a random event. That God has something for you. And if you believe that, if you get up every morning and say, God, whatever you got for me, I'm willing to handle it. Give me the strength to accept whatever is your will. That was all I ever prayed for when I was in transition. And I was in transition 15 months. And all I ever asked for was the strength to accept whatever is God's will. I didn't ask for a job. I said, whatever you have in store for me, give me the strength. And what God said to me was, he said, you know, you go out and you help as many people as you can. You try to help everybody, and I'll take care of you. And that's what he did. Those who know me for years, they knew I started doing podcasting. I started speaking at different networking events. Well, I was still looking for a job. Was I afraid? Yeah. I was afraid. But God said, you do this and I'll take care of you. And see, that's one thing. People think that if you have faith, you don't have fear. That you can't have fear. There is nothing wrong with having faith but still being afraid. Fear is a normal human emotion. There is nothing wrong with that. So don't let anybody tell you that if you're afraid, then you don't believe. You know, I was talking to somebody in the back a few minutes ago and I said, if you think that faith and fear can't coexist, the next time there's a minister's convention, somebody let a Bengal tiger loose in the room. And all those people with faith, believe me, they will have fear. But on the first part of that verse, the substance of things hoped for, last point I want to make is, don't wrap God around your job search. Wrap your job search around God. Wrap your life around God. It's when times get rough, when you're tested, when your faith, your belief is tested. It's easy to have faith in God. It's easy to say thank God when you hit lotto. You know, you see people on TV, thank God. You know, some athlete signs a new contract. I want to thank God. But how many times have you seen people in the midst of tragedy, in the midst of something they have to overcome, and the first thing they do is thank God? They don't. We're dealing with it. We're doing what we have to do. In everything you do, thank God. I'll talk about that a little bit later, but when times are bad, thank God, because they can always get worse. And remember, he's got something for you. So when it looks bad, remember, there's a reason. And he's got something for you, something better. You know, when you get turned down for a job, when you call back and find out, and they say, well, we've moved on and we've looked at somebody else, and you get all upset, there was something else he has for you. And if you take this opportunity, you will not get that opportunity. But you've got to work. You can't be lazy. You can't sit and wait for God to bless you. Second part of that verse is the evidence of things unseen. Carl Sagan, who I really admire as an astronomer, he said, faith is believing in something in the absence of evidence. And I disagree with him. Faith is believing in something in the presence of evidence. See, the reason I believe in God is because I've seen evidence of what he can do. I've seen what he's done for me. He's done great things for me that I know I didn't deserve. I've seen his good works He's blessed me more than he should have. You know, some people look around this room and say, well, where is God in the midst of all this misery that people are going through? When I look around this room, I see God everywhere. I see God in the people in the back serving. I see God in the greeters at the door. I see God in the fact that this building is open for job seekers to come in. If you look for God, you will find him. You know, God's not going to come walking across the stage. He might, but chances are he's not. So when people say, well, I don't see God, well, you don't see air, but you believe in it. Just because you don't see something with your eyes, just because you don't see Christ on Sunday morning in church, does not mean he's not there. For evidence, as I said earlier, you look at where you are now. You look at what he has brought you through. How many people in here have been through some stuff? But guess what? You're still here. How many people have been through something that if somebody told them that you were going to experience this, you said, there is no way I would survive that? We're talking job layoffs, you know, after 25, 30 years working someplace. We're talking divorces. We're talking losing a spouse or losing a child. But you're still here. You know? Remember how you all felt that day you got your pink slip, if it was not expected, and you felt like your whole world came crashing down on you? I had a coworker last week. You know how you catch somebody at the wrong time and you ask how they're doing, and they tell you, and you gotta sit there and listen then because you did ask the question. And a friend of mine, she laid out a bunch of things going on in her life that I didn't know. And when you're not in it, like if anybody in here, you vent to somebody and then you wonder how they could be so clear about the answer because they're not in the storm. You know, we're sitting outside the storm looking at you saying, well, the answer is obvious. But when you're inside that storm and swirling around, you can't see anything. And I told her what to do. I said, do this, this, and this. And it was like, oh. And it's not because I was any smarter than her, because I was outside the storm. But my point is, I think that I was a blessing to her, that God used me to bless her, to give her the information she needed, because she was up against the wall. Same thing he can do for all of you. Is stop looking for a blessing and start trying to be a blessing. Somebody comes to you for help, help them. Offer to help people. All we have is each other. They're not talking about the unemployment rate anymore. You don't hear it on the news anymore. You don't hear about, well, you know, how many PhDs are on assistants. All you have is each other. So instead, like I said, instead of looking for that blessing, try to be a blessing to somebody else. Because I guarantee you, if you do what you can to help other people, God will take care of you. And he will take care of you in different ways. For me, somebody out of the blue called me one day and said, hey, I saw this job. I'd like to submit your resume for it. And from that, it led to me getting a job. That's out of the blue. Did I know that was going to happen? No. But I know that God told me, you help as many people as you can, and I'll take care of you. When he said take care of me, I didn't know what he meant. But he told me. He told me clear as day. I heard the voice in my head, clear as day. No, God didn't walk up to me and tap me on the shoulder, but I heard it in my head, in my heart. Listen to your heart. Listen to God. If you open your eyes, open your heart, open your ears, God will talk to you. He will tell you exactly what to do. He'll tell you, keep going. No matter what, just keep going. Work hard. Get up every day. All right? You know what you have to do in your job search. Get up every day and just keep doing it. Somebody needs help, be the first to offer to help them. Everybody here has heard somebody give an elevator speech that was terrible. Offer to help them. Am I lying? I've given a few terrible ones myself. But my point is this. Your job search, don't make it about you. Make it about who you can help. For one thing, it'll keep you busy. It'll keep your mind working. You know how they say one of the theories about Alzheimer's is one way to keep it from hitting you is to just keep your mind active. One thing to keep depression from setting in when you're looking for a job is to keep your mind active, to keep doing something. volunteer. Help somebody else. Do something for free. I was reading something that said, you have not lived until you have done something for somebody who could never pay you back. That's really when you know you have lived. When you have actually done something out of the goodness of your heart, and that's it. Finally, like I said, instead of looking for evidence, be evidence. One other Bible verse I want to bring up is Exodus 3:14. That was when Moses asked God, when God told Moses to go talk to Pharaoh, and Moses said, well, who should I say told me to come talk to you? And God said, tell them I am. I want everybody in here to repeat after me. Say, God is.
God is.
Say it again. God is.
God is.
When you don't get a call back from that interview, God is.
God is.
When you submit your resume and you get that rejection letter,
God is.
when your car starts making a funny noise,
God is.
when you're stuck in traffic on 285,
God is.
but when you do get a call back for an interview,
God is.
y'all, it's getting kind of quiet now. Let me repeat that. When you get called for an interview,
God is.
when you get called for a second interview,
God is.
when they ask you to come in and talk to the managers,
God is.
and when you get a job offer,
God is.
feel better? Look, you're smiling now. 10 minutes ago I got up here, and I'm not going to lie, you guys have some of the saddest faces. You really did. I hope I lighten your heart a little bit, lighten your load. It is a challenge. What you're going through, it is a challenge. I've been there. But trust God. You trust God, He will take care of you. Trust God to help His people, help the least of His people. Because the fact that you are all here says you have faith. Don't lose that faith, no matter how bad it seems. Don't get mad at God because He's not following your plan. He's never followed your plan. He's always done His own thing, and you changed your plan to match what He did and called it yours. But just trust God. Trust God, help somebody, keep busy. And soon, before you know it, you'll be getting a call from somebody, or an opportunity will present itself that you never expected. With that, I want to thank you all for giving me this time. The question you have at your table: what have you done, and I might be wording it differently than I wrote it, but what have you done this week to show God that you trust Him? What have you done for somebody else to try to be a blessing? That I thank you for your time. Okay.
Thank you very much, Tyrone. All right, we're going to take the next 14 or 15 minutes and have table discussion with your facilitators. One of the things that's always a challenge in this next few minutes is to kind of stay on topic with what our speaker said. It's really easy to get kind of drifting into some other job search topics. So give us that time, and then we'll reward you with a whole lot of great and exciting things for the rest of the evening in a few moments. All right? So I'll be back here in about 14 minutes.